So, guys, the topic for today is although and even though. So, please subscribe the channel before going to the topic. Although and even though are conjunctions. What are conjunctions? Conjunctions mean it's a bridge between the two sentences. We will discuss it later and have the same meaning. They are used at the beginning of a subordinate clause and express that the action in the main clause is surprising, unusual, or unexpected. So listen carefully now. What does this line mean? It plays before the subordinate clause. There are two clauses, one main clause and other is subordinate clause. So it plays before subordinate clause. Now we will discuss it in the example. It will clear more. He drives a second-hand car. This is called main clause. Look at this sentence. This is main clause. Even though it comes after the main clause and before the subordinate clause. And even though he is a multi-millionaire. So he is a multi-millionaire is a subordinate clause. In the above example, the speaker is saying that it is unusual or surprising that a millionaire drives a second-hand car. So it surprised everybody, and it is also unexpected that a multi-millionaire person will drive a second-hand car. So we use even though or though before the subordinate clause. We could also begin with the subordinate clause without changing the meaning. Example is even though he is a multi-millionaire. He is a multi-millionaire. The rules never change because even though comes before the subordinate clause. In this sentence, the subordinate clause is he is a multi-millionaire. He drives a second-hand car, and this is the main clause. More examples are although, even though it rained a lot, I enjoyed the holiday. Look at the structure of this sentence. Although, even though it rained a lot. These are all interchangeables. Looks having same meanings. Although, even though it rained a lot, I enjoyed the holiday. You can also make structure like this. I enjoyed the holiday. Although, even though it rained a lot. There are a difference between though, although, and even though. We will discuss it later. Although, even though he was much older than the others, he won the race. He won the race, although, even though he was much older than the others. These are the examples. Notes. So you listen carefully now. What notes mean? That please listen carefully. In spoken English, we use though instead of although. We can use even though instead of although though to add emphasis. So this is the point now to be noted, that even though is used instead of although though to add emphasis. Emphasis mean to force something, that this is important. When we force something, we use even though. Although and even though can also mean but or however. Although and even though can also mean but or however. We will discuss it in the example. It will clear everything for you. When we use though in this context, it must be placed at the end of the sentence. When we use though in this context, it must be placed at the end of the sentence. When the meaning of although or when the meaning of though is but or however, then we place though at the end of the sentence. Just look at the examples now. They had waterproofs on, although they still got wet. They had waterproofs on, they still got wet though. This is informal. In spoken English, we use such sentences. They had waterproofs on, however, they still got wet. So, the meaning of these three sentences are the same. So this is the use of though and although. Also, we will discuss in the later lecture that there are three types of sentences or three types of clause. We can't interchange though and although. It means that though and although have different meaning in these and those sentences. So please subscribe the channel for those sentences and hit the bell icon to get more videos. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Also, I am waiting for your practice in the comment box. Please make some sentences on such topic also. Thanks.